Good afternoon, friends. You're probably wondering why I'm here dressed in all of this. Well, this evening we're dealing with the topic of stages in relationships. Yes, funny enough, we're dealing with relationships. Everything in life requires stages. If you are into construction, you would realize that in order to build a strong building, you need a good foundation. Your foundation, before you build a strong foundation, you need good trenches in the ground, then you need good block work, and then you need a good strong slab. So you need, in order to have a good strong building, you need a good foundation. In order to have a good foundation, you need good workmanship. Friends, it's the same thing with relationships. You need to have stages in every relationship, and we're going to go through that shortly. So join us as we get right into it. Hello again. So we're speaking to the topic of stages in relationships. And in the stages of relationships, there are 6 stages that I would like to delineate to you all at this point. The first stage is the friendship stage. The second is the casual dating stage. The third is the special dating. Fourth, we have engaged to be engaged. Fifth, we have engagement. And 6, we have marriage. We start at the friendship stage. The friendship stage is the stage at which you are singular. You are not plural as yet. There is no one in your central vision. There may be some in your peripheral vision, but there's no one in your central vision as yet. You are still friendly with both genders, male, female, and you're intermingling. There's no commitment or exclusivity at this point in time. There's no singling out of any individual. You're just friends. And the Bible says if a man must have friends, he must show himself friendly. And friends of mine, if you are to find a mate in life, if you are to find a spouse, if you are to find a partner in life, the first thing you have to do is to make a friend. I am pleased to say that many of you who know my wife, we were friends for quite a number of years before we got into anything, and she was my friend, a very platonic friend at that, before we decided to take things to the next stage. That being said, step number 2 is, anybody remembers? Yes, it's casual dating. And so stage number 2 is casual dating. This is where you would see a few individuals, 1 or 2 individuals, but you're not yet exclusive. You're still looking at her, you're still looking at him and deciding, whether you would like to engage in something serious with this individual. You're not just friendly anymore, but you have now intentionally started to speak to a few individuals very casually. Now, it's important for me to note at this juncture that every stage has stage appropriate behavior. When I speak in schools and stuff, sometimes you see 2 young people, male and female, they sit down in the corner there by themselves, they're up underneath each other. And then sometimes you go to one of them and you say, so how you and the girlfriend or how you and the boyfriend going? And a lot of times, that is not my boyfriend, we're just friends. Well, the fact of the matter is that you don't need to declare yourself boyfriend and girlfriend in order for you to actually be in that type of a relationship. By your behavior, you convey a message not only to others, but to each other. And sometimes you convey a message even to yourself. And so, friends, it's very important that you monitor and you mark the behavior, the stage appropriate behavior. So if you're friends, if you're saying you're in the friendship stage and you decided that you're nothing more than friends, you shouldn't be in the corner holding hands. You shouldn't be sitting down together. You shouldn't be going out on dates and these types of things. That's not stage appropriate behavior for friendship. Now, it may be stage appropriate behavior for another phase. But if you just want to say we're just friends, nothing more, then you need to express stage appropriate behavior. So we have the casual dating. So you've noticed a girl, a boy, a man or woman that you have interest in, but at this phase you're still going out in groups. You have not declared any serious interest to the individual as yet, because you're still getting to know them. So you go out in groups, Pathfinder go out. What again you do in groups? You know, COVID kind of minimize the things that we can do in groups. But you gather in groups and you go out in groups, but there's no singular relationship as yet. And after you've gone out in groups, you probably would have, when you all went to the play together, to the skit, to the football match, to the cricket match together, CPL, you all went together. Then you realize, here what? I started to talk with her more. I started to talk with him more. I realized he's cool. He told me, you're cool. She said similar. And you all shared a mutual appreciation for each other. It was nothing special yet. You all did not cross the boundary yet of saying any I love yous or anything like that. Don't say it premature, my grandfather always used to say. And my father told me in turn that he used to say, that my grandfather used to say, don't tell a woman you love her until you're ready to marry her. And that has some merit. Or that they had planned on going simply because you did something, you acted out in a particular way that wasn't stage appropriate, or you said something that wasn't stage appropriate. So at this phase, casual dating, you're just relaxed, and then we go on to special dating. This is the point where you've seen her long enough. She was in your central vision. You looked at her in Pathfinders and she pleased you well. You went out to the cricket match with the group, with families, with friends, and you're clicking, things going good. And you decide, here what? I want to get to know this girl or this boy on a personal and exclusive level. At the point of special dating, you become exclusive. At this point, friends, you make sure that it is an understanding between you both. And I would recommend not just an understanding, but that you have a verbal agreement. However you decide to make that verbal agreement is up to you all. Whether you decide to say like the old timers, would you be my sweetheart? Or, as the young people say, some of them know, you want a deal, whatever your mode of communication, but you want to ensure that it is mutually understood, because we don't want to, as Ellen White says, trifle with hearts. It's very dangerous. Sometimes a young boy and a young girl going out together, a lot of stuff is unspoken, it's unsaid, and they reach a point where someone or occasion brings it, what are we? And the girl in her heart is saying, well, this is my boyfriend, we are exclusive, and the boy may be saying, well, she's just one of my friends. It hurts. It does. And so in order to avoid this, you should communicate on the stage of the relationship that you are in. Now, you may be asking yourself at this point, after we've been through friendship, casual dating, special dating, why is this thing so complicated? You telling me we have to learn all these things to get into a relationship? Well, there's a rationale behind delineating it now more than ever. You see, we live in a time now where relationships aren't as organic as it used to be. What do I mean? I'll explain. In olden days, long time ago, well, probably not too long ago, our parents and older folk, these stages happened naturally. It was organic. They would go to school together. The person they marry might have been from their neighborhood, from a friend of the family. They may have grown up in church together, these types of things. So communities were more close-knit, and communication and even accessibility would have been, to even a mate or a spouse would have been in a closer or smaller circle. And so, for example, my father, Pastor Sentinel, and my mom grew up in the same church. Same thing goes for my aunt and uncle, and I know many of you in Forest Park, Carolina, know persons as well who would have grown up together. And so these things happen naturally. They went through the phases naturally. However, now we are living in the age of social media. We are living in the age of easy international travel. There's nothing about pen pal and these things again unless you really want to have a pen pal. You know, but persons can meet on social media. I can meet someone from Australia who's a Seventh-day Adventist. I can meet someone from Venezuela. I don't even need to know the language. I can use Google Translate to get that done for me. You know, so things can be done really inorganic and not the most natural way. And so people just jump right into relationships. People, you get to know somebody through their Facebook profile, through their Instagram account, and you think you know them, and you just jump into it. And many people, they skip these stages. And what happens if you skip steps on a long staircase? You can really injure yourself. And so it's important to follow these steps and to understand them so that you can know what used to be natural and how they built strong relationships long ago. We can still have it today, but first of all, you need those 3 stages. First, friendship, casual dating, then special dating. Now, we go on special dating, by the way, is when you're going steady. And there are 2 types of special dating. There's observatory dating and there's participatory dating. A lot of young people nowadays get involved in observatory dating. But the challenge with that is that observatory dating, first of all, is where both of you'll just observe a lot of stuff, but you'll never participate in activities together. So you never get to learn about his temperament, about her personality, because you all haven't participated in things together. You all just went, for example, observatory dating, you went to a CPL cricket match, you went to a football game, some of you went to the movie, you know, you had a movie night here. You're just observing stuff, going out on dates, going to dinner at TGI Fridays or whatever of your choice, whether it's Sauce Doubles or Hassan Ali's or whatever, but it's just observing stuff. But you want to get involved as well in participatory dating. Participatory dating, you engage in stuff with your partner. So the church has a cleanup day. You all volunteer to go. Alright? He's a deacon, and maybe you may notice that he's one of the hardest working deacons there are. That he's very industrious. Or you may just notice that he's very lazy and that he only really came for the lunch. You know, that the sister cooked. So you have to really be involved in participatory dating. She may beat him up in a game of Uno. And then he is silent on the way home. She realizes, he's not a good sportsman. And so in this way you learn about the individual better. It's also very important at this stage of special dating to be introduced to the family and to spend time with the family. Because, friends of mine, believe you me, the apple doesn't fall too far from the... Yep, you said it right. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And a lot of times as well, added to that, is you can gain a lot of insight into the life of the individual by hanging out with their family, seeing how they relate with their parents, and if their parents are, if you have a good relationship with their parents, you can even ask them a couple questions, and sometimes even on how you say it, help me, somebody with the word. You didn't ask for it, but they volunteered information, you know. So they may say, hey, she cook? And they may chuckle. Friend, you just learned something there. Guys, you just learned something. You may, he bathed? You just should say thank you for that information. So, hang out with the parents at this stage, get to know the individual as much as you can. And we're moving swiftly on now to engage, to be engaged. I think this is a category because as you've been going steady for a little while now, you've been learning about the individual. Before, especially for the man, sometimes for the woman as well, but for the man, I think the stage is necessary, engaged to be engaged. Because at this point in time, you would decide mentally, emotionally, spiritually and physically, that you want to engage the individual. Engagement is not an afterthought. Engagement is not a grand gesture. So it needs to be thought out, it needs to be prayed about, and before you make that move, guys, girls, you say yes, you need to be praying about this. And so the engaged to be engaged period is the time when you would be preparing yourself physically. You know, you want to start saving that money for the house, for the car. You want to do all these things in preparation for life and for relationships. And so you want to prepare yourselves in the engaged to be engaged segment. You will understand why when I speak about engagement. And so you'll need to do many things, but I want to stress the importance of boosting up your prayer life at this point in time. Friends, don't go into any relationship that God cannot sanction. Don't, as the old people say, don't take flamboyant to go in to search in the night for what you could have seen in the day. So pray. Take your emotions away from it. Don't be subjective, be objective, and ask God if this is His will for your life. Is this man or will this man or will this woman make me a better Christian? Would I help them? Would they help me to gain the kingdom of God? And so pray about it. And then we move on to engagement, which is the fifth. In the engagement phase now, the reason I said engaged to be engaged is important, because the engagement is not a period now where you're now starting to prepare. Engagement is actually from then onwards, is a period where you would start to prepare for the wedding and the actual beginning of the marriage. Right? So guys, girls, we try not to have engagements too long. 2 years, 5 years, and these types of things. It's really, you've been preparing, you've been getting to know, you've been praying to God, and God told you, okay, go to the next stage of engagement, and you just engage and you want to prepare for the wedding, for the marriage now, for the union. And I want to caution us very strongly at this stage, because this is the stage that many of us as Christians can slip up. Because what happens is sometimes, especially if engagements are long and has a lot of idle periods, a person may think because I have an engagement ring on my finger, is we as good as married. Friends, stage appropriate behavior. Stage appropriate behavior. You're not married, you can't do married people stuff just yet. Alright? Flee fornication, and God will continue to bless your relationship and your marriage. And of course, as you've been engaged and time passed, time progressed, you prepared, you got the photographer, you got the cake, you prayed spiritually, and you've boosted up that connection with God, and now you've entered into the final stage, which is really the beginning of marriage. I want to say to you, it is important that from the beginning to the end of all these 6 stages, that you be intentional in time in it. I know when I was a young man, my father always used to tell me in relationships, when I tell him, Dad, this is my girlfriend, what, he'd say, take it slow. And I'm giving you all a tell all here now. I didn't understand what take it slow meant. He would say it time and time again, and one time I built the courage to say, Daddy, what do you mean by take it slow? Give me a practical example of taking it slow. And I learned, and so I can share with you now. Taking it slow, guys, girls, simply means that if you are driving your car and somebody told you, I have a surprise party in Port of Spain for 4 o'clock, so don't reach before 4 o'clock. Don't reach after 4 o'clock either. Then when you leave Arima, or you leave Cuba, or you leave Chaguanas, you would have to cater how fast to drive your car. And if you're passing Chaguanas and you realize that it's only 3:15 and I'm already at Grand Bazaar, then you need to take your foot off the pedal. You need to slow down a little bit. If you realize that it is 5 to 4 and you're now in Caroni, you need to speed up a little bit. And so, like, such is it with relationships. You don't want to reach married people activities in the friendship stage. Nor do you want to have friendship activities in the stage when you're supposed to be going steady or special friends, or even sometimes engaged to be engaged. And so, friends of mine, you have to pace yourself. Pace yourself. Life can be very wonderful. You can enjoy the experiences, but you need to pace yourself. And so I trust that with these tools, you are well equipped to manage your relationships, understanding that stages are important for everything in life. As a matter of fact, if you were to go to the doctor and the doctor says, "Here what, I'm going to perform open heart surgery on you. However, I missed a couple classes in school, or I missed a few semesters, I didn't go through those stages," you'd have serious concern. If you were being taught by a lecturer in school that skipped some of the stages in their own education, we'd have cause for concern. Why is it then we think that relationships sometimes is just we're into it and that's it?